Hey everybody, my name is Pat. I am the voice behind about 98% of the recaps here on the channel, as well as all of the movie reviews and the show reviews. And today we're going to be reviewing the Showtime miniseries, FellowTravelers. So what is FellowTravelers? Well, FellowTravelers is an 8-part Showtime miniseries that centers around two main characters. You've got Hawk Fuller and you've got Tim Laughlin. Hawk Fuller is played by Matt Bomer, who you might recognize from the movie Magic Mike, while Tim Laughlin is played by Jonathan Bailey, who you might recognize from a show called Bridgerton. But let me tell you, this is a complete departure for both of those guys in this show. So the show starts out at the heart of McCarthyism. If you're unaware of what McCarthyism, it was a time during U.S. history where Senator Joseph McCarthy from Wisconsin was going after anyone and everybody regarding communism. He pretty much thought everybody was a communist, and he was out there to get them, because if you were a communist, then you were just a hindrance to America's way of life. But what this show details isn't necessarily Joseph McCarthy's hunt for communists. It's really his witch hunt for homosexuals, gays, lesbians, everybody from the LGBTQ community. He's after them. And of course, you've got Hawk Fuller, who works in the U.S. government, and Tim Laughlin, who's trying to get his foot in the door of the U.S. government, and both those guys are closet homosexuals. So this show starts out with their relationship, starting at just a campaign rally, and then blossoming in the shadows of McCarthyism, while also trying to keep their jobs. It's an avenue of American history that has yet to really be explored, at least that I know of. You know, because we hear about things like McCarthyism and you just think, okay, it's just about communism. But no, this dives into not necessarily communism. It's literally just about going after gay people and that witch hunt, and how they had to keep everything under wraps, how closely they were being watched, how their way of life was being targeted by Joseph McCarthy and his people, and even how some people in Joseph McCarthy's inner circle, while they were saying that they were against gays and their way of life and, you know, how it was immoral, they themselves ended up being gay. But this show starts out as just two guys who end up meeting. Hawk Fuller end up having some cachet, actually working for the U.S. government, and Tim Laughlin being a younger guy trying to find his foothold in the industry. They end up meeting, hooking up, and Hawk decides, you know what, I'll hook up this guy with a job. I'll hook up Tim Laughlin with his dream job, because while Tim Laughlin is, in fact, a closet homosexual, he's a big Joseph McCarthy fan. He believes everything that Joseph McCarthy has to say, and he wants to help make a change in this country. He feels like Joseph McCarthy is going to be able to do that. Now, while Hawk doesn't believe that at all, he just wants to help out the kid, keep him close, and also keep him under his thumb so he can continue to hook up with him, because he ends up liking him. But through their relationship, they end up going from, for lack of a better term, like hookup buddies, to actually forming a legitimate kinship. But this doesn't stop with McCarthyism, because this show goes through McCarthyism, and then it goes through the 60s, and then it goes through the 70s, and then finally it ends with the 80s and the AIDS epidemic. So this really spans about a 30 to 40 year time period regarding these two men who had to hide who they truly were, regarding really a lot of people in their lives, and they could only be themselves around each other and a select number of people. But this goes from looking at hiding yourself as a gay person in government, in journalism, and as a radical, extreme, I wouldn't say extremist, but like a radical protester in the 70s who's against the war, and then ultimately having to deal with nobody in government giving a rat's ass about AIDS and the AIDS crisis in the 80s. Now the question is, was this show good? Should you watch it? Let's get into that. Okay, so here's the thing. I am probably not the target demo for this show. I am straight, married, have 2 kids. Ironically, that is exactly the character of Hawk Fuller in this show, because he ends up getting married because Joseph McCarthy was basically going after anybody who was above a certain age and wasn't married. If you were like 35 and you weren't married, then you must be gay. And that's kind of how it was. But I'm basically the same as him, but I'm straight. I'm a straight guy. And I usually don't end up really watching a show like this. Now, I'm comfortable in my own skin and my own sexuality. Like, I can watch two guys hook up on screen knowing that it's a movie and a show and be fine, right? But this show is going to make some people very uncomfortable. Like, if you're a guy and you can't take two guys hooking up on screen, then this show is not for you. Because let me tell you, it gets graphic quickly. All right? Like, it is like, whoa. So, if you get uncomfortable with that sort of thing, you're probably not going to make it past 20 minutes into episode 1. All right? I myself, I'm cool with it. Like, it's, whatever. Doesn't change for me. So I got through all 8 episodes and I was fine. But the whole time I'm like, damn, this is graphic. Side note, I did not realize that the 2 actors were gay. So I'm sitting here watching these 2 guys hook up for 8 episodes thinking, my God, they're really dedicated to the craft. These 2 straight guys read the script and they must have really liked it because they're going at it. And then somebody was like, no, idiot, they're actually gay in real life. Oh, okay, it makes sense. But that's my big precursor to the show is if you're a guy that does get uncomfortable with this sort of topic, this show is not for you. Now, I myself, I don't really care, whatever. You've seen one tale, you've seen them all. Doesn't make a difference to me. But as far as the actual storyline goes, it didn't grab me. I didn't necessarily think that it was worth 8 episodes. I thought this could have been a movie, but the 8-episode arc, I didn't think that each episode left me with enough where I needed to go back. Other than the fact that I wanted to finish it to give a review. Now, I did really enjoy the ending of it because I thought the ending was beautiful. And it is a story worth telling about how these 2 guys had to hide who they were. They're basically their entire lives and how all they really wanted to do was be with each other. But also it dives into some of their friends and their lifestyle. I mean, you've got an African-American journalist who is also gay in the 1950s. Like, you want to talk about getting it from both ends. He's got to deal with racism, and then he's got to deal with the fact that there's this anti-gay sentiment out there. But I also liked how it did span different generations. It didn't just stop with McCarthyism. It did go into the family lives, but it also went into protesting the Vietnam War and then going into, obviously, the AIDS crisis. But overall, it was, for me, it was a miss. But I think for a lot of people out there, this is going to be a huge hit because I think that this goes into a topic that I don't think gets represented enough. I mean, I don't know how much of this show really dove into factual history. I don't know if it was just we're going to take names like Joseph McCarthy and throw them in there. We're going to take, Dwight D. Eisenhower, throw his name in there. I'm sure that this was actually based in reality and they did have to hide from this, but truthfully, I'm just ignorant to the topic, and I always thought, McCarthyism is just communism. But no, it probably was this. I'm just not researched enough to give you that this was exactly how it went down. And I'm interested in that. I'm interested if, this is how it was for gay people back in the 1950s, because that's horrible. But I do think it's an important topic. I just don't think it needed to be an 8-part series. I think they could have covered most of this in probably an hour and 20, hour and 30, 2 hours. I think we would have been set. But it's a story worth telling, and I think that if you are somebody that is in that, LGBTQ community, I think this will really hit for you. For me, though, it was just a miss. So I would say skip it unless that topic does speak to you. And then you've got, a 8-part love story. Now, that's the part of the video I ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel. Hit thumbs up if you like this. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought this video sucked, I sucked. The screens in the back sucked, whatever. You can smash thumbs down. That's your right, all right? I'm not Joseph McCarthy. I'm not going to come after you. I will ask that you be nice in the comment section because nasty comments make me feel bad, and that's usually why I avoid them. But Fellow Travelers, it's on Showtime, 8-part miniseries. As I record this video, I think we're 2 episodes into it, so it continues to air. Keep watching it if it speaks to you, and if not, then just pass it by. But that's one man's opinion. All right, I'm interested to hear what you guys think out there if you're watching it, if you do like it, and also I have t-shirts, so you can go buy one of those.